Welcome to Ask Hypnotica 82. Today we're going to talking about an important question: to compromise or no compromise, okay, in a relationship. Okay, don't ask me where this comes from, this accent, but it's here. So I'm playing it. It says, "Hey Eric, booyah, all the way from Israel. I'm really curious about a perspective on something. Every time I have a fight with a woman or a friend in a relationship, in my internal world, my map of the world, I feel like the friendship relationship is fucking over and I feel like things are never going to be the same. It's lost, and even if I do get to talk to them and I feel like that we're good again, after we meet, just something feels different. Like something's going on between us at an unconscious level, and I start focusing on their bad behaviors and I start criticizing them, and I start to have a lot of issues with them, and it even leads to ending the relationship. Now, I've heard from a lot of successful people, and especially married ones, that every time they have a fight, and they do have a fight because that's the way the world goes, people fight, okay, when they end the fight, they talk to each other and it's even more loving and they move on to the next level of their relationship. I really want to know how to do it like those effective people. I want to be effective and I need some light on the subject because relationships with people do matter to me. Thanks, your friend David from Israel. P.S. I started drinking lemons with water in the morning like a ritual, like you said, and I get a lot of energy from it. I feel awesome. Thank you. All right. Thank you, David, for bringing the question to me. And this is one of those really touchy subjects to a degree, because when you commit to a state of being, when you decide what your vision is going to be, as a man, you're either going to compromise or you're not going to compromise. Now, lots of men compromise and they take what is valuable to them, they take what is high value to them, all right, and they sacrifice it, and then they bend. And when you bend, it can be a weakness into your state of being, into your vision, into the ultimate reality that you have, okay? So you have to be very careful about what are you compromising. If it's a value that you compromise, that you cannot not live without, then don't compromise. Okay, if it's something that's bendable and that you can look at it and there's no loss of what's important to you, then on that level, maybe you can compromise. Okay, it really depends. But the important thing here is, as a man, especially in these times that are happening right here, right now, we're looking for strong men. Strong men that are willing to take a stand and not bend, unless you're being a complete asshole, is important. All right, because right now the war on masculinity is taking place, and people are trying to pigeonhole masculinity. They're trying to call things like microaggression. Okay, ain't having it. Don't give a shit about it. Bottom line is this: if you feel someone is doing something that bends or conflicts with your values, stop it. Just say, hey, no bueno. I don't like it. Not going to happen, okay? And this is one of those things. Like, I can be pretty cutthroat when it comes to things. I'm very black and white, and this comes from 25 years of running strip clubs. Okay, I'm black or white. There's not a lot of middle ground. It's either like, hey, this is going to work because I have had to survive that way. It's basically, if you're sitting in I'll give you a little example. If you're sitting in a room, in the dressing room with a bunch of girls and they're arguing about shit, I can get caught up into the drama. Okay, and the drama's back and forth and back and forth. Or I just look at them and go, hey, if I hear another word out of either of your mouth, or this goes any further than it is, or it gets physical, or I start to hear drama, bottom line is you're both going to be fired. You can come back in a month. Usually cuts it off real quick. Okay, so that is one of the reasons why I can be an asshole. Okay, it's because I don't listen to the bullshit and I'm not willing to compromise in certain situations. However, that being said, compromise is a healthy thing for people, and as long as the bigger picture that two people can work together, that's going to complement the relationship, if that's what you are committed to, that is a good, healthy thing. So let's get into a couple of the aspects, and we'll bounce this around a little bit, because ultimately this is going to come down to you, because I don't know what's going on, but only you can really think about, okay, is this something that I can't or can live without? So let's get into it. Now, the first thing I want you to realize is, if this communication or if this argument or if this frame threatens your bigger picture on how you envision your reality as a man, if it works there and it makes you go, nah, okay, or weakens you on any point, or makes you sacrifice something that is of core value to you, like I said before, don't do it. It's only going to weaken you. Be able, now, a lot of people don't agree with me on this, okay, but this is how I am. Be able to walk away from any relationships that aren't in your best interest and that don't enhance you, and they don't expand you and upgrade you and evolve you as a human being. Lots of people are trying to position men in a corner saying, this is the way you have to be. Listen, You don't have to be any other way than the way you want to be. Only you make your world. Only you are happy within your world. If you're not happy with the way that things are going, say, I don't like this. This isn't working for me. No bueno. I want you to think about that. Be strong in your ability to say, nah, not interested, not going to play the drama, not going down this route. But you have to be able to look at it from multiple points of view. I believe in like a 3-point of view to get some information. Because if you're just being a stubborn asshole, okay, and you're just being selfish, okay, because you can't take what she said, okay, then you may need to grow a little bit, okay, and you're being too inflexible, which you can break something like that, okay? And if she's ruining your world internally, that's really just like your ability not to be able to handle situations like this and find compromise. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying, is it useful and does it make you happy or not? So I want you to understand exactly where it is that I'm coming from, because like I said, ultimately, this is your choice as a man to live the way that you want to. And if you don't like the way things are going, or you don't like the way that someone's trying to position you, you don't have to play the game. You can walk away. You can do whatever you want. You are free like that as a man. Now, I want to say something. On an emotional and spiritual level, you can afford to lose your partner. However, you can't afford to lose yourself. Think about what that means, all right? And this really comes from an understanding of who you are, what you're about, and like I said, once again, what is important to you. So many times I see guys bending. I see guys giving in to something in which they're going to lose ultimately their freedom. Now, I don't believe in being in a relationship where there's limits on the freedom or doing things or living your life. So, these are things that you got to be aware of, because listen, it exists all around you, okay? Billions and billions of guys are weak and cave into a woman's wants, okay? And vice versa, all right? Bottom line is this, like, you want a partner that complements you. You want a partner that's going to make you grow. You want a partner that's going to want what's best in your interest and not in hers. And a lot of times you can have this where in her mind, your best interest is to be with her and be with her only, or to sacrifice or to do things. In your mind, your best interest may be to have ultimate freedom and to have someone who supports, complements, and enhances your life for what it is you want to be and do in your life, okay? And that's 100% acceptable on any level. There is, like I said, I want you to understand this. There's no one right way to understand this. I'm just trying to give you some perspective on things to think about, because like I talked about, there's 3 different perspectives, all right? One is your own perspective, first perspective, seeing things out of your own eyes. That's where most people are stuck in. Second perspective, okay, is basically like flipping things around, jumping into her eyes, okay, and looking at the communication through her point of view. Most people can't do that, but usually when you do that, you get a lot of information and realize, like, either A, I'm being an asshole, or B, that person right there is being selfish, okay? So that's a very powerful position. And a third position, which is useful to have, if you can switch that around in your mind, okay, is go to a third position. And just imagine that you're a fly on the wall looking at this situation and seeing what is it really about. Okay, is it a power struggle? Okay, does one person need to be right? Is one person, this is usually what happens, is one person feeling very vulnerable, okay, and they're feeling uncomfortable so that they need to have a little bit of control in the situation, so they need guidelines? These are things to think about, because overall, it's the bigger picture. Who is this person going to be in your life? One of the most powerful things to do is really, like I said, cutting the dead slack. Okay, if a person is grinding on you all the time, okay, and they're slowing down your progress of what's important, I personally will cut that slack. Okay, if it's a very rare person, I may, deal with it, and trust me, I have relationships like that in my life where I'm dealing with it and trying to adapt, evolve. Okay, find that compromise. But there are some things that I personally do not compromise on, and I could be known as an asshole for it. So, get used to that term. You're an asshole, okay? It feels good sometimes when you look at it and you're just like, I don't give a shit what anyone thinks, because ultimately it comes down to this. You are your own maker, okay? You are your own person who's traveling through this destination. And that's the important thing, is it's your experience, okay? 100% your experience. Others can share that experience, but they're never going to have the complete experience that you're having. And you might as well, leverage it so that you're happy in your experience and understand things like this. Remember this, you are entitled to dream for your future. Now, dreams don't always come true. However, you are entitled to go after your dream with full force and fury. And a lot of times, listen, Dreams are not easy to get, okay? You're going to be challenged by them. And you have to make that decision in your mind, okay? Is this person wanting what you want, okay? Are they offering you struggle, okay? Are they dragging you down because of their belief? And if they are, like I said, man, just you can still love a person, but just say, hey, you know what? It's already hard enough to go after what I want, and I don't really need any extra baggage, and I don't need to be nagged upon. These are things women can do, and men can do them too. So I don't want you to think that, this is a one-way perspective, all right? It's a lot easier to go after what you want, sometimes alone, sometimes with the help of other people. It's a good thing to have that balance in between. Like I said, just make sure that you do not sacrifice yourself and your dreams for someone else to be happy in the situation with things that they want or the things that they think you should be. And another thing I want to tell you is, like, listen, sometimes like these kind of things go on over time. It's just not like a one communication conversation, where you get it all out. There's been plenty of times that I've said to my wife, hey, the person who you think I am or the person that you want me to be is much different than the person who I am. She's done this before, okay? She's tried to take, what I wanted, okay? And obviously I live a very different lifestyle than most people, and she tried to package it and put me like in a box, and I'll tell her that. I go, you're not putting me in a box. I go, it's just not going to happen. And I say, bottom line is this. I am who I am, having the experiences which I am having, okay? And I choose to do it 100% despite what anyone else can imagine, because no one else can imagine what I go through or the things that I experience. And you're either on the team or you're off the team. And sometimes, you can step back a little bit. This is where some of the solutions come in. You step back a little bit, okay, let time go on. See, is it bending? Is it not bending? If it's not bending, then this is a serious thing that you have to deal with, because if one person's like solid in their conviction and the other person's solid in their conviction, bottom line is there's not going to be any compromise. There's not going to be any resolution to the problem. So it's one of these things where you have to decide for yourself, hey, maybe we're better off as just friends, okay? And that's okay. Listen, if you're living a lifestyle and you're creating the person who you want to be, a lot of times it works like this. Every single person that's been in my life, once I got to that point where there was no compromise anymore and I wasn't willing to let them try to put me in a box, okay, when I walked away, usually someone better came along that was more appropriate for who or what I wanted to do in life. It works like that. When one door closes, usually another one opens, if you're opened up to it. Remember, you have to think about how important is the relationship to you on your vision and your journey to get what you want. Compromise is a sign that your relationship is more important than your ego. And that's fine, okay, if the relationship is going towards the higher vision or goal of what it is you want. But your ego, and a lot of people want to say the ego's bad and stuff like this. I don't believe that, okay? I believe that you need an ego, all right? You're an individual, okay? You're here on a certain way with a certain mission for whatever mission that is, and you have to respect your ego and you have to respect what's important to you. So, think about that. That's a very important thing to discuss in your mind, to reflect upon. This has to do with a lot of know thyself as a man, and these are the important things in life. And these are the things I want you to understand. Compromise is just the beginning, okay? It's not usually the end. Compromise is going to bring out things that are going to enhance and see if you can come up with creative solutions so that everyone can feel satisfied on the level of values in which they want in the world and the things that they want. It's a time to say, hey, this person's important to me. This is what I want. This is what I'm going to go for. Hey, this is the facts. This is what I'm going to lay on the table. This is what the other person's going to lay on the table. Can you work it out? This is all about being creative, being able to work things out in the interest of you and her as a whole. Remember, little compromises are natural and inevitable, but this really gets to see who's going to be on your team. Okay, what's your team going to be about? Now, I've kind of thrown out some things just for you to reflect on or to think about, but I also want to throw this in there, because if you're going to have a solution and you want things to be better, first of all, listen, no woman or whatever she says should even think about ruining your world. All they're going to do is basically give you information and data to put in your head, basically, reflect upon, say, okay, worth it, is it not worth it? When you have resentment about another person's point of view, you really take out the individuality and the perspective of being flexible to other people's opinions. Now, if I have resentment for a person because they have a certain way, that's on me, because I'm feeling like I'm blaming them to a degree. I'm saying, hey, you know what? Your point of view is holding me down. And that's like a victim point of view. Basically, you could say, hey, you know what? If I see a person, I say, good, they're entitled to that because maybe they want more, this, and this. Maybe they want more love. Maybe they want more commitment. Maybe they want something else. That's a powerful point. So instead of looking at it like they're trying to break your world down, look at it like these are the things that are super important to them. Step back from a little bit, get some gestation. Gestation basically take some time, think about it. Can you work with it or can you not work with it? One of the things that's really nice about the different layers of relationships and getting better and better with them is because a lot of times they either break down or they don't. Sometimes when things break down, like a muscle when you're working it out, it breaks down, but then it gets stronger when it comes back. And if you have to take time in between, take the time. If it just doesn't feel right and it's not really working out, hey, go your own way. No biggie. There's plenty of other people out in the world that might or may not be willing to deal with the way you see things in life. And that's another point I want to make is listen, and this comes from a little bit of my own example of the way that I go through life. The path that I took, all right, is not your conventional traditional path. Lots of people have tried to pigeonhole me, put me in a corner, label me, and I don't buy it. I just go, well, that's the way it is. Call me Dick, call me whatever you want to call me. It's okay. Your opinion of me, it doesn't matter to me, okay? As long as I look back on it and say, is this important to me? And if I don't do this, is there anyone else that's going to do this or have the lifestyle or the exploration or the experience that I'm able to have and to share with other people, all right? And that's like a big thing. Understand that about yourself. If you have the flexibility to be nurturing, okay, if you have the flexibility to be compromising to a degree where you can actually come up with solutions, that's the best thing. It's like win, win, win. How can everyone win in the situation? If you can do that and still keep your values and still keep your integrity and your dignity as a person, great. If you can't, what has to happen in order for you to get to the point where you can have arguments with people and still look at them and find solutions on why they are important in your life and why they can continue to improve and to be better and to have more love in your life or have more affection or have more intimacy, whatever it is that you want for yourself. Like I said, it's one of those tough things. As a matter of fact, I just had an issue with this today myself. We went back and forth with somebody and I just said, hey, like I'm black and white. You don't need to buy into what I say. And I don't really care if you take what I say to heart. That's just the way. It's not that I don't care. It's just that, listen, at this level in my life, I basically say this is the way it is because I have my own manual to my mind. And this is one of the nice things that you can do is when you really understand this. Yeah, you may have some arguments here, but once you understand the manual to your mind and what makes you tick as a man, you can basically hand them the manual and say, look, I'm going to make it real easy. These are the things that are important to me. This is what I want. This is what I'm looking for. And if you agree, cool. If you don't, move on quickly. No, not a big thing. And a lot of times when people do that, a lot of people can't even imagine that you have it so like laid out. It's so organized that sometimes they try to test it. And it's just like, look, it's real simple. This is what's important to me. And it helps you over time because then you can just lay it out and people are like, wow, here's the manual. It makes things a lot easier. You don't have to go through that process of like, oh my God, is he serious? Is he not serious? Yeah, I'm real serious. Okay, here you go. Lots of people have tested that. Lots of people are not in my life anymore because they tested something that was powerful and valuable to me. And guess what? They're gone. Not my loss. I always know people that are in my life, I may have a strong point of view. Bottom line, I give a lot in relationships, okay? I give a lot of strength. I give a lot of groundedness. I'll always be positive, okay? And I'll bend over backwards for any of the people, my lovers or my friends. So when someone compromised that, then unfortunately, they don't have that person that's going to be in their life bad to the bone, okay, down and dirty to the end, and that's okay. So hopefully, like I said, this was kind of all over the place, but hopefully there's something in there that stimulated your mind to start to think a little bit more clearly, to start to have a little bit more open-minded and solution-oriented outcomes in mind. And so that when you're in that time and you have an argument, you can think of it like a muscle breaking down. It's going to break down a little bit, but it's going to come back stronger. You're going to come back stronger. You're going to be much more powerful. You're going to be much more effective, and you're going to learn about yourself faster. And hopefully that person will respect your opinion, your point of view, your perspective, your direction and destiny of life. With that, enjoy. This is Hypnotica 82 out.